My pleasure to take interview from you. You are, as I know, biggest provider in Latvia, yes?
Yeah, that's right.
Can you explain a little bit what is the numbers in Latvia? Maybe not yours, but exactly just what is like domain numbers in Latvia, shared hosting numbers? It's like how much is it?
Well, basically we have a really small market compared to the rest of the Europe. Like our total amount of people who are actually living here, and is basically the whole amount of people living here is 1.5 million. So take away all the newborns, take away all the old people, and there is less than 1 million who are actually working and doing some kind of business. And that's all our market.
And as you know, population also not growing as Lithuanians.
No, it's not.
Because many people are going outside country.
Yeah, a lot. It's getting better now because of EU founding, but I mean, it's not those numbers which are going to change that.
So people coming back, or it's new people?
New people not leaving, I would say.
Okay. And what is about domain market? How big is it? It's about, I don't know, 50,000 domains, or?
I would say it's less than 50,000. It's around 10 to 20,000. It's more realistic.
And it's growing? Or?
Yeah, it is growing. It's definitely growing. Each year it grows for about 30%.
And about shared hosting, typically people in Latvia, how many domains they have? Typically they have one shared hosting and one domain, or they, for example, buy one shared hosting and 5-10 domains?
If we talk about the average numbers, it would be around 3 to 5 per person. But there is a huge segment of people who are buying only one domain for one site with they have a business in mind, they want to do it, and they just get one domain, and later on, after a year or two, they scale up and get more. So it usually stops at 5.
Okay, and do big brands like GoDaddy, Hosting Europe comes to Latvia? Of course, it's a small market, but do they advertise here, or do they have some market here?
The only place I do see them as a marketing person is Google, because they're spending their budget on all the Europe. I'm pretty sure they don't have a budget for Latvia. They do have for the Europe. It's pretty huge in terms of numbers, because I mean they're pretty big. But people with our mentality, they usually want to choose somebody from local business providers. And since we're the only ones who have data center and are actually legit business provider in Latvia, that's why they don't typically go there. And the only reason people do go there is because of cheap prices, which is good and bad. But the thing is, they don't really have any kind of support. It's ticket support, so they have to open the ticket, wait for like a few days, and then they get reply. Problem is not fixed, and it goes on and on and on. Each year we have more and more people coming from HostGator, GoDaddy, and huge US providers to us.
What about pricing? If we compare shared hosting, VPS is compatible to Europe, to Germany, to Amsterdam. Your pricing, like not your company, but maybe Latvia pricing is a little bit bigger than in whole Europe, or it's smaller?
I would say there are two categories. Basically, one category goes with like DigitalOcean, which is a bit cheaper, but in cost of support. And then there is a really expensive category, and we are somewhere in between, the middle to expensive, somewhere there for the whole Latvian market.
And what about support language? Typically people write here in Russian, in Latvian, and if they write in Latvian, do they require answer in Latvian, or you can answer in English or Russian?
Since we have support in all 3 languages, we talk whichever the customer wants us. Like if he's Latvian or she's Latvian, we will answer in Latvian. Same goes for Russian and English. But for Latvia, I would say it's 50-50 to Russians and Latvians.
And if they write support in Russian, you should answer in Russian?
Yeah, we always answer in the same language people are writing us.
And about payments, do people prefer bank transfers, or they use like, I don't know, Paysera, BankLink, or some other aggregators, or do they, as I know, they do not pay with cash, and do they pay with PayPal, or what is your payment methods?
What we are trying to promote, and actually works the best in Latvia, and I would say in all Europe, is the credit cards. People are not used to it, especially in Latvian market. The good thing about this is that you don't really pay any percentage extra for those transactions. You actually get charged automatically. You can renewal without even doing it again. The same goes for PayPal. It's still not so common in Latvia, but people do start using it more and more each year. But internet bank is what people like the most. But they do get bigger fees. So we're trying to promote people paying with a credit card.
So credit card and no fees for them, yes?
Yeah, that nobody has fees. Not a business and not a person. There are literally no fees for them. Basically, there is a fee, but it's smaller, like 10 times smaller than any other source. And we are trying to promote it. And the bad thing is that people can't forget to pay their bills. Because if people do forget to pay their bills, they get disconnect. That goes for every single hosting in the world after like few weeks if people haven't paid their bills.
By the way, I had an interview with bank, and they said that each transaction has about 3 cents, not $3, 3 cents payment to the central bank.
Yeah.
Only 3 cents.
Yeah, and it's the smallest.
Yeah.
Other goes like 10%, 12%,
yeah.
20%.
Yeah.
I mean, those numbers are huge and
Yeah.
they're growing.
If I get $10 from PayPal, I paid for them 70 or something.
Yeah, exactly. And the same goes for customer, because customer is also paying more for their transaction, and business is paying more for their transaction. So everybody is losing.
Yeah. What about site builder in your market? For example, Wix or Weebly or other international brands. Do they advertise here or?
Wix does advertise here since they're again a pretty big US company which is trying to promote everywhere. They have a budget for every single continent. The thing about Wix is that it's still pretty complicated. What I do see in our market, people do like simplicity. People are not used to those 1,000 options. They just want to go there, see 3 templates, maybe 4, a little bit drag and drop elements, and that's it. They want to build a basic website, because if the person decides to go with the really hard, complicated website for the business, they'll most likely take a programmer who will do that, and designer and everything. If the person is doing something for themselves, which is where our site builder comes handy, they want something really, really simple.
Or does Wix offer .lv, or as in, for example, does Wix advertise? Of course, he advertises domains with .com, I don't know, .net, .biz, .pro, but does Wix advertise .lv?
No, they actually only thing they do advertise is website builder itself, without any accent on any domain.
And as you know, Wix has all servers in US, so it should be 10 times slower than local provider as you.
Yeah, yes and no. The thing is they do have some data centers, some servers stored in Europe as well. It's few, but it's not like their market here is big enough. Because Wix and WordPress are 2 big competitors. They're doing a bit different functions, but people do see them as the same thing. Essentially, the WordPress have templates, Wix have templates. And that's why it's pretty hard for other site builders, like Site.pro, to go in there, because people don't know.
For us, they doing good things, they advertise the market. Like in Russian, many grand people, they came to the internet through Одноклассники.
Yeah.
Одноклассники.ru was the first resource that, so people who have 50, 60 years old start using internet to meet their other friends via internet. And people come to the Одноклассники and then switch to other, like ВКонтакте or other providers. So they will like enter through them. In Wix, they're doing good job. They advertise customers via TV. They buy expensive channels. Also, one Wix ads provider who sell traffic for Wix, they came to us and started offering traffic for us. So Wix paid $250 to $300 per customer. It means that they need to like return their money in 5 years.
Yeah, that's a lot.
So it's not real estate. So and I also talked with quite educated guys, and they said if you pay for the traffic and you pay $300 per customer, so somebody can buy these customers for $100 and sell you.
Yeah, so exactly. I know, right?
So and Wix really has huge budget, and as I talked to my marketing team and to the other company marketing teams, they said that typically that big companies, they are unable to target very carefully, and sometimes they just target this region, see KPIs, and they maybe do not see Latvia or Lithuania or Estonia.
I'm 100% sure they're not differentiating us anyhow. It's just like Europe, maybe there's a Denmark and Finland, which are expensive markets in Europe, but others are just a bunch of Europe countries.
And you also mentioned about your new servers in Europe. You said that you're the first one who order Fusion servers in Europe. Can you explain a little bit what is it?
Sure. The story behind it is how this whole industry evolved. It all started from HDD drives, which were slow, but well, they can store a lot. Then years later, people invented SSD drives, which are like 300% faster, and that was a huge thing, because basically every single data center in the world changed to SSD drives. What big companies couldn't do, like GoDaddy and HostGator and those kind of big companies, they can't really afford to switch to SSD because they are still pretty expensive. They're still pretty expensive. They're getting cheaper, but to update whole data center, which is like a small town in Latvia with data centers, you have to spend billions of dollars for that. When you can take HDD, SSD, and do like a hybrid model. So that's how they work. In small markets like Latvia, like Estonia, Lithuania, like Europe, you can't really do that because people need like top service. So we first upgraded to SSD servers. Basically, we don't have any single HDD drive. We do have for backups if people want them because there is no need for SSD, but for hosting, it's SSD only. So what happened next? Google and Facebook worked together to make a new technology. It kind of, it's not basically really new because there was one more step after SSD, which is NVMe drives, which are faster for like 500% than SSD. That was the next step up. Like companies like Dell, Intel, they invented those drives. But Google and Facebook did one step ahead of them and invented Fusion drives, which is like now literally fastest drives on the market. Also, Dell and Intel and other big companies did catch up on that, and they're also trying to produce their own Fusion drives. The difference between NVMe and Fusion is price, and Fusion drives are like 10 times more expensive, while they only give like 30% more resource gain for people. So for business, it's not really common sense to invest money in buying Fusion servers where they can only do like NVMe and save a lot of money. Then again, we're a small market and we have to fight for every single customer. We are not like GoDaddy who can just take a bunch of people.
So you need to invest 10 times more?
Yeah, to actually hold customers.
Okay.
Because they can switch to other company because they do not offer something like that.
So can you just, in numbers, for example, how much costs average server, how much costs Fusion server? Just
it would be
about.
Yeah, it would be about. Let's say you can get HDD drives for bucks, literally bucks. Okay. SSD is like 10 times more expensive, but it's still pretty cheap nowadays. Okay. NVMe will be thousands, few thousands for. I mean, if you want to do it for a data center, it's definitely not one drive. It's more than one drive, so it's few thousands, and Fusion is going like 5 times more.
Okay, so and about can I run, for example, shared hosting or any type of company outside Latvia? Because as you know, for example, Russia, they have agreements that you need to store data in Russia. Belarus has the same rule. Ukraine, I don't remember, but something like that. And many other countries like Kazakhstan have this rule, but Lithuania or Latvia do not have this.
Europe is amazing. From this side, it's like the best place to be at for business because we don't have any restriction. We can work with literally any client in Europe. Yeah, it's getting harder for Russian, for Kazakhstan, for Belarus. We're still working in those markets as well, but it's 10 times more harder for us to actually do something. We need to have servers there because, I mean, we do have data center inside Latvia, but it's pretty hard to build a data center there. So we just take servers, we buy servers and put them in a data center. Here, we can invest money in our data center. We're expanding it each year. We're getting some investments from Europe, from private investors, from our own sources, and we're expanding data center. So
can you explain just one, maybe not your best, or maybe your best advertisement company? For example, how you get the customers. Maybe not your newest one, but just one example how you get new customers. For example, that works maybe 1-2 years ago. Maybe people from Mexico or Japan just see, oh, good method. Maybe they will use right now in Japan, for example.
One of the biggest things when we switched from HDD to SSD, we were one of the first in Europe who did that. So that was also a huge advancement for us. What we did advertise in every single spot. Google, Yandex, banners, whatever. We advertised the difference between the speed, what you get from HDD servers and what you get for SSD. And those numbers are actually really easily provable. You just run a test and you see those numbers. And when people do see like there is a 300, 200, 100% increase, while price is not really that much higher, you think like, why not? I want to do my business better, so I will spend €2 more for my business. What is €2 for a business for a month? It's nothing. But if it increases in performance, customers will be kept, they won't go away, they will use your service. So people easily understood that they need to invest in their business. And we're not talking about investments in millions or hundreds, we're talking about euro investment. So that was the difference which we advertised and which brought us a lot of customers from abroad, from Germany, from Finland, from Switzerland, from Russia, and even from those countries where it's harder to get clients from because of those restrictions from government side.
So one of our maybe most successful advertisement channel that we use with this product and other products was very stupid, very old-fashionable, but still working. You just find, like a catalog for ads, and you have many ads here, and you just many companies here, and you just write simple script, and in 2-4 hours crawl all catalog. When you crawl all catalog, it's amazing, but still they do not code emails. So you have emails, you have names, you have companies, and then you have touched them. You can write them manually, you can write automatic things, but still you legally get emails. You can just manually write them, or maybe half manually. And the idea is that you can run a campaign for them, or for example, you can crawl several 100,000 emails, and then use them in Facebook or Google targeting. For example, you can put this email in the campaign, so you do not send them any mails, but you, for example, can download, for example, Latvian company database, put in Google and Facebook campaigns, and you do not spam them, but you can show ads them.
From this perspective, what's really good and working and did work for a while, from Facebook perspective, there is a timing when you can set what time people will see your ads. And we did a really huge research in these terms for a Latvian market, and we found out who are watching TV, which time, who is browsing Facebook, what time, and we did put our ads in between the sports matches. Basically, when you watch a hockey match and there is a break for 15 minutes, our ad is going to be shown only during those 15 minutes on Facebook, on every other social network.
Wow.
So all other times we're not spending a single cent there, and the only people that are coming there is the people we want to have. And the
awesome.
same went for women, which did watch Russian TV shows like Dom 2 and others. So we did put our ads in between those when there's ads, because people usually take out the phone, they browse Facebook, they browse something, because they're not really watching ads on TV, and that's when they see our ads. So that was working for a while, and it's still working, because we do some kind of research just for these purposes.
We also use several methods. For example, you go to your competitor and buy ads at his place, and it's still not forbidden. And you can buy ads, for example, in the same industry, and you put pixel. So you collect audience and then show them ads. And still, this method is not forbidden, and you can still use this method. We, in our industry, for our other product, we several times use it. Maybe the result wasn't perfect because we use only for several days. We need maybe 1 month to collect audience. But still, I think that there are many maybe rules in laws that still not exist, and in our field, I don't know, in our industry, we still can find a lot of place how to advertise.
But it's pretty hard now with the pixels because of GDPR. Basically, we did try something like that before GDPR, but after GDPR, inserting pixels was a bit harder, since you can't really get those data if people do not agree. And if there is a pixel on the website needs to tell people that there is a pixel and we are giving your data there.
Yes, and if it's for Europe or something, so you can still use this method outside. And I had meeting last month with Ilya Laurs, is quite known startupper in Lithuania. He sold his startup, as I remember, for 100 million or something. And he now investor. So he said that when he started, it was 15-20 years ago, you had 10 ideas, and you need just to combine your idea with marketing idea. So your idea plus marketing idea, and same kind of mix, and put to the market. So you need to find 10 different models. For example, your idea with this marketing not exist, with this marketing not exist, with this marketing you success. So you need to mix. And now he said that you need to mix from 1,000 to 10,000 ideas, like your product feature plus some marketing, and from 1,000 to 10,000 different types, how you mix it, and one of them can work like very fast.
100%. We did encounter the same issue. Basically, when we bought all this Fusion stuff and started to build servers, first of all, we thought it's going to be just hosting. We're going to make a better, faster hosting.
Yeah.
But people did not really need it because you're hosting a website and you don't really need that kind of speed for a website. Then we switched it to VPSs and to servers, which changed our starter plan completely. But the thing is, it made our sales go through the roof because our first server was booked in a month. Our second server is going to be up in like a few weeks, and I'm pretty sure it's not going to last months. It's going to get faster. After that, we're going to increase prices because that's when we chose the model, how we're going to roll it. But our initial plan was to just do it for hosting, but it didn't work. So yeah, we are also switching ideas and trying to put it all together. But starting idea usually is not the same idea that works.
And maybe last question about new TLDs in Latvia. It's not very popular, as I know. The .shop.xyz and all new TLDs are not like very known and very like, I don't know, fashionable in Latvia right now.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's not in a trend right now. From time to time, when the traveling gets better, the travel domains are getting a lot of attention. Then again, when the mobile domains are also getting better. But it's really small percentage. People are usually going with the regular domains. What is good is that people right now are trying to get more than one domain, since you can get com, net, org, LV, and EE, and others. Pretty simple. It's also pretty cheap right now. And if you compare any regular domain to any zone domain, like special, like travel and those, the price is like 20 times higher. So people are not really spending on that, not in Latvia.
Thank you, Deniss.
Thank you.